The 7 types of debt from worst to the best. Now, you may think that debt is all bad, that they all have this major problem and negative connotation associated with them, as that's not necessarily true. But we do have some major headwinds. In the United States alone, we have $13 trillion of total debt, of which we have $9.1 trillion that are going to mortgages, okay? We have about $410 billion on home equity line of credits. So if you think about a mortgage, it'd be like typically you'll see like a first mortgage, and then people open up a home line of credit that they would then use for like a pool or do a home improvement or to make other investments. But you'll see that as a very common thing. And it's being less and less the case right now because interest rates are so low. So they're refinancing their houses, taking that down. The values are going up. But what you'll find is when interest rates start to spike back up, people will lock in those first mortgages and they'll start using home line of credits to get access to that cash. So right now you're seeing a big refi boom. I'm getting rid of a lot of those home line of credits, but it is out there still. And then you also have student loans, which there's $1.5 trillion of student loans. And many would argue that this is the next big bubble to bust, is the student loan bubble. And we also have $1.3 trillion in car loans. And today you're seeing a little bit of pressure in those areas as you're seeing some of the car loan manufacturers, used car loans really starting to have some issues, but not too bad. And now we've got $870 billion in credit cards. That's the debt alone. And you got to remember, that's a big number. But remember, not all debt is evil, okay? Because with debt, you can actually go buy the house. And when you get a house, you actually get tax benefits for that. Usually it's at lower interest rates. You also can use debt to go to school. For me, I had a football scholarship early on that helped me out a lot with school, but there was a point in time where I didn't want to do that anymore, and I had to cover the gap with some education student loans, and it helped me out quite a bit to allow me to be able to go to college and be able to get educated so that way I can meet the right people and do all the things that happen today. And then also another one's business. So money that you can use to help you scale and grow your business, which we all see quite often. And a lot of our clients and business owners are always trying to figure ways to get loans for that kind of stuff because you can make a lot of money if you're smart with it. So those are some of the big things that we see. Now let's get into the top, maybe the worst kind of debt. And let's get down to the best kind of debt, because not all debt is equal. The last one, I don't even know if you guys even know what this is, but payday loans. There are like people that will get their paycheck and literally before they get it, they will cash it in to get the money in advance. They're actually factoring and selling their income in advance. So they're getting the payday early so that way they can factor that in. Pawn shops do this as well, where they'll take like goods and services and hand it off to the pawn, and they'll get an interest rate back on auctioning off that item at a lower rate. If they don't pay, they take it back. So that's kind of a tough place to be in as you're trying to get through that. So luckily I haven't been in that situation for a long time. But going forward, we don't want other people to get in that thing as you try to get there, as you try to really think through what that is. And I do know a lot of successful people that have had tough times that had to get through certain things, but you got to be cognizant of it, figure out where you are in your future. I've got business owners that have done really well and had to run their companies down and get to the point where it's almost just about to go bankrupt and they come out. Most entrepreneurial business owners had to go through bankruptcy or some form of restructure to get their business right and come out. If you think of guys like Walt Disney and some of the very successful people that had to go through some of these times to be able to get there. But payday loans would be like the lowest of the low where you're trying to get through. Okay. And we see that for factoring businesses and things like that. Number 6, credit cards. So if you're a consumer, credit cards are typically bad. $6,900 or so, I think it's $6,500 is like the average balance today at an average rate of like 19%. So it's like Warren Buffett's like return, like they make more money in credit cards than they do like Warren Buffett makes in the stock market, which is wild. Number 5, personal loans. So personal loans are like, I see this a lot of times where you have a lot of credit cards and you have things and you want to go try to do a debt consolidation. So the credit card would be worse, but if I take all your credit cards, let's say you have 10 credit cards and you're paying monthly payments and you just can't get ahead. But if I can consolidate all those together in an ELOC, or if I can consolidate them into a personal loan, which would be the second, would actually be a lot worse loan than like a home line of credit. because you wouldn't usually get a tax benefit if you're W-2. You'd be consolidating them in, but your payment would be lower typically if you could take those higher interest rates, roll them into a personal consolidation loan that way. Number 4 would be car loans. And car loans typically have a higher interest rate, but it depends. Like if you're getting a new car, then maybe they have 0% APR, or you buy a used one, then you get a discount on the car, but then you might pay a little bit higher interest. But it's typically it's the reason why it wouldn't be totally high is because you're paying a little bit of more interest for it, but it's not tax deductible. And cars typically aren't an appreciating asset. Last I checked, they're usually depreciating. So you're not getting the appreciation on it. And then quite honestly, there's like $1.3 trillion outstanding in car loans. And today, which is crazy to me, the average payment's like $550. So it's really gone up quite a bit for car loans, where people are spending more on cars. That way. I mean, heck, my first car, I paid $700, put it on a credit card, and the thing got me around pretty well. So that's pretty interesting. And then I remember when I had my first like real payment, and it was like $500. Like, what the heck am I doing to myself? But now it's a little bit different. But that's the thing to think about. That's another kind of debt. That's number 4. Number 3, student loans. Student loans. There are 7 to 10 people that get out. 7 out of 10 students, have student loan debt. And the average balance now is like $37,000. And out of that, $37,000, so imagine I go to school to get out, and the average salary is like 60 or 70, and you got $37,000 in debt. So it's going to take your whole first year to pay that off, if you can even do that. And it has a low interest rate if they're federal, but if they're private, they can be much higher. And then all these stupid student loan refinancing people are refinancing things like 7-8%, which is absolutely criminal, but don't get me started on that. So student loan debt is there. I was fortunate enough when I was going to school that I got a lot of federal subsidies. I had really low rates, and I thought it was definitely the right call to be able to finance my education, and it was a good thing. So quite honestly, I still have those student loans today. I could pay them off absolutely very easily, but hey, it's a small little payment, and I'm going to push that out, and I'm still investing and putting money to work so I can make that compound interest go. And plus, it helps your credit a little bit. But anyway, ideally, we'd want that's number 3 because you're financing your future. Number 2, mortgages. Mortgages are like a liability anyway, right? Your house hasn't really produced anything, so you're paying the mortgage. But the good thing is it's attached to appreciating asset, typically. It has a low interest rate, typically, and it's tax deductible. So mortgages are number 2. That's why they're number 2. And plus, you need to get a house. And if you pay cash for it, then all that lost opportunity cost on the cash isn't working. So now you don't have enough money to accumulate over time, and it could really set you back if you are still in those income building years. And then number 1, the best kind of debt. You ready? All right. The best kind is business loans. Cash flow investment loans is what I call them. They're loans that are designed to create cash flow for you. And I love these kinds. It's like you got other people's money, creating money for yourself. So this would be like a loan that would go out and buy an apartment building that's producing cash flow. A loan that would buy me a strip mall that would provide me cash flow. A loan that would give me a rental property that would provide cash flow. A loan to find some other form of cash flow investments. And what I like, when I use loans like that way, I want them collateralized. I want them to have predictable and consistent cash flow. And better yet, if I don't have to actually work on it and someone else would, so I have a really good person doing it, I have other people's time and other people's money creating wealth for me. And that's how a lot of the most wealthy people in the world got there, is they use other people's money, other people's time to create wealth for you. So there you have it. The 7 types of debt, from the worst to the best. And not all debt is created equal, my friends. Matter of fact, like I said, most of the wealth in this world was created because people who got to the money first was able to put it to work and create money out of thin air. When you give birth to dollars by borrowing, taking a dead asset and recreating it, and if you can create a new stream of cash flow off of that and become a cash flow investor, that will really allow you to create new streams of income, getting other people's time, other people's money working for you. And that's the secret to how to understand debt, the difference between good and bad, and how you rank them and think about it for yourself. As always, we're here. Reach out. We have a great book out there called The Future Hack, and it'll talk to you about the different kinds of debt, how to think through how the wealthy do it, and then also you can go through our Invest for Life program and to learn more. And if you ever want a one-on-one consultation, we're always here for you. Have a great one, and we will talk soon.